And they perceived that they were uneducated and untrained men. They marveled. You see, education has always been a big deal in society. It's always been a big deal. I mean, how much, why did you go to university? What have you learned? Who gave you the right to speak? So sometimes anybody gets up and speaks to somebody, people start Googling them. It's like, where do you go to school? Who gives you that power to speak like this? So, to speak with such boldness and confidence in the midst of people who are trained in the word. And they said that, but we know your background. We Googled you. We realized that you guys have no training. You are not educated. You are not lettered. And yet, and they marveled. They were shocked. These guys have a lot of knowledge for people who are not educated. When they marveled, what was the conclusion they made? And they realized they had been with Jesus. I don't know whether you get this, but I'm getting excited. I'm about to do a praise dance in my head because I can't dance in real life. So when I do praise dance. Because the fact that uneducated and untrained men can hang out with Jesus, can fellowship with Jesus, and then they imbibe so much that people look at them and marvel. It tells you the power of association. It's so powerful. The power of relationships. Who you hang out with. I'll say this and then I'll end them. I remember when I got born again at 16 years, I started praying for who I'm going to marry. Because I was trained that who I associate with will make or unmake me. And Uncle was just encouraging me when I came here about that. That if you end up with the right person, you treat them right, you're a happy person. They say happy wife, happy life. Which is very true. No, it's true. So, I started praying. I was 16 going on 17 about my wife. Why? Because I realized that after the decision to make Jesus the Lord of my life, the most important relationship I'm going to make is that of my spouse. I don't know whether you guys agree with me. Yeah. But the first decision, it's my choice to confess Jesus Christ. He came to seek me because I was the one who was lost. And just to encourage those of you here that this is the best decision you can ever make in your life. And if you have not made it, I encourage you to make that decision. Because if you have not sorted that vertical relationship with Jesus, all the horizontal relationships will suffer. Because how rich your horizontal relationships are as a result of how rich your vertical relationship, and that's your relationship with God. Right? So, if you do not have that relationship with God, we are wired for relationship. I said that in the beginning. We are wired for relationship. So, whenever we run from the relationship with God, it's like a fish out of water. You are out of your natural habitat. You will struggle. You will struggle until you are connected to the source. And you're going back to my story. So when I got born again, I started praying for my wife. And I remember when I was in university in Ghana, I went to Ghana for University of Cape Coast. And my little brother was in the same university. And I told him that, you know what? I know you regard me as, a man of God, a preacher. But you know what will really inform you the kind of person I am? Is the choice of my spouse. That's what I told him. Sometimes we can say all the right things and not do the right things. Am I the only person like, come on now, don't leave me hanging here. You know that. Yeah. Especially in England. And I don't say that as a criticism. English people are very, very good with how you present yourself, how you speak things. And that is not a diss at all. That is good. So I meet people, they can talk their talk. And I'm a teacher. I work with college students, like they are adults, my students older than me. So, and when you hear them giving excuses about why they can't do the assignments and how they will do it next week. Like next week is next 10 years. Oh no, I'll do it next. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go home. I'm going to take my time and I'll do this. I know they won't do it. Why? Because they know how to talk their talk. You know what? This is sir. You know what? This is my life. I'm not playing with this, you know. So I'm very serious. I'm doing this for my children. I was like, I've heard this speech. I have a dream speech. I've heard it. You know, I was like, just give some action to your dreams and I'll start believing it. So because of this kind of culture you grew up in, if you don't take care, you can even bring it into Christianity, where you speak the lingo. Like I said, you speak Christianese. And then and you know how to quote the right scriptures here and there.
Yeah.
And yet so in practice it's not there. I pray that God will help us to be people who don't just talk the talk but we walk the talk. And so I told my brother, if you want to see whether I'm really walking the talk, look at my choice of my spouse. And I'm saying that my wife is an angel and she is immaculate and you know, Virgin Mary, none of that. But what I'm saying is that I prayed since that God, you know what I need for where I'm going more than I do. One thing about relationships that I want to say standing up, that the reason why relationships are important is that you cannot take everybody where you are going. We must choose our friends wisely, because where we are going determines who we go with. You get what I'm saying to you? Where we are going, if you know where God is taking you, if you know the glorious future God has concerning you, you are not going to just choose anybody to come along with you. Are you guys tracking with me?
Yes.
Let's say you see the plans of God for you. The Bible says in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans that I have towards you, plans of good and not evil, to give you an expected end." So you know that God's plan for me are glorious. He's going to make me a sign and a wonder in my generation. I'll be a preserver generation. That's one message when God gives me another opportunity to come here, we'll share. We are called to be a preserver generation. The generation that will live ahead of our time. That will preserve the generation that is crooked and perverse. So we cannot be like them. If you are like them, you can't preserve them. The generation that will bring change will themselves not be changed by their generation. Am I making sense?
Yes.
The generation that will bring change themselves cannot be changed by their generation. So if you're a change maker, what Isaiah said that we are what? History makers. World changers. If you're a world changer, you cannot be changed by the world. Number one, if you're a world changer, you cannot love the world.
It's true.
So you can't just say, "Oh, I'm a world changer, but I love this world so much." You can't change the world. And I'm saying loving the world as in loving the systems of the world. Love not the world, neither the things of the world. So what I'm saying is that our relationships are very, very, very important, because we know where God is taking us. And knowing where He's taking us, we can't just take anybody with us. Knowing that evil company corrupts good manners. So 10 years after I prayed, for my spouse, 10 years. I didn't meet my wife until I was 27. I started praying about her when I was 16, going on 17. I didn't meet her until I was 27. And the Lord spoke to my heart in His Word. I love the Word. And He said, "He that findeth a wife find it important. That's what he spoke to me, and I said, oh, and I proposed to her like fast. When I heard God, I didn't care about. And I'm not saying God do the same thing, right? No, everybody's different. I met her in June. I proposed to her in October. Like I think I met her in July. Why? The only reason I did that swiftly because I believe I heard God. I believe it. I've written it. It's still in my. I've saved it in my Google Drive. I've taken it. It's important to keep what God speaks to you. I took a picture of that portion of scripture. One time we were sharing the scriptures together, and I believe God spoke into my heart. And he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing, obtains favor from the Lord. Said, okay, it's going down. So it's about to go down. So, sorry guys, I should use more spiritual and ecclesiastical words like thou and thee. Which picture says it's going down? So, but I believe that my life has been made a lot more richer since meeting her, and I believe her too. God has blessed her with 3 lovely children. I'm not saying I don't think they are born again yet, because especially my son. I love him to death. Like, I'm praying for him to be born again. Because nobody's born again, and I love these children to death, but I pray that they get to know the Lord more than anything.
That's it.
But my life has been richer. My faith has been enriched. And I cannot but recommend this to people. Even our friendships. My wife and I, we are big on friendships. We know the power of relationships. We know what it means in the spirit realm. Because it will cost you your time. It will cost you your money. It will cost you precious emotions. And that's why most people just like, yeah, I don't want to, because they are not ready to invest all that. But guess what? It's worth it if you do it God's way. Alright, so I am very, very privileged to have this opportunity to share the word of God here. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much. Keep doing the good work you guys are doing. I would like to fellowship with you a lot. I'm not the kind of guy you get rid of easy. Trust me. You can ask Josh.
Yeah, it's true.
No, I'm going to hunt you down. Why? Because I believe the power of... And people say, oh, we have a 6-month-old baby, right? And people say, oh, you guys have a new baby. So... No, she's cute. She's an angel.
Yeah.
I hope she's born again. Right? She's born anew, but I pray that she's born again. But people say that, oh, you guys... They say, well, when can we visit you? And they go like, oh, you guys take your time. You had a new baby. I was like, who's complaining? We are the ones with the baby. We visited people when our baby was 4 weeks before. Is it because we're crazy? No, it's because we believe in the power of relationship. You have to invest your time. Last Saturday, we had to run, well, we didn't run, we just invaded Josh's little hostel with the whole of the family, and it's like we're touching this, we're touching that. But when we want to invest into a relationship, it's not just my wife and I. We don't have private and personal friends. Whoever is her friend is my friend. Whoever is my friend is her friend. And my children sometimes think my friends are their friends. They are not your friends. You don't buy your own friend. So I believe in the power of relationship. Let's just get to know each other, and let's most importantly get to know the Lord a lot more. It will enrich our relationships on this level. So God bless you. Any more questions? Any questions? I think we have a couple of minutes. Yeah, we have.
One question is something I always battle with is like, especially if you've left a certain environment, like, because like I feel good that the word can just change me, but I grew to a point where I wasn't content with just going and saying, you know what, I feel better because now I've been connected to the people around me, and like with a certain friendships, and I want to help them as well. So as far as like with bad company corrupts like good character, but like world changes can't be changed by world.
Yes.
How do we go back to those certain environments and say trying to help those people that are still stuck in certain situations?
Yeah.
Give me a hand for the question. That's an excellent question, and actually my notes, but I could not cover it. But in the question, but I was going to talk about something I call contact without contamination. That's what we are called to do. You are the salt of the earth. Matthew chapter 5, verse 30. You are the salt of the earth. How can you, have you seen, like, sometimes people do it here, like they cook and they sprinkle salt on it, or they put salt on the side. Salt gets down with the whole other spices. But does salt lose its taste?
No.
Just because you put in some nutmeg or some paprika. That's what we are, the salt of the earth. The Bible says that we are the salt, Matthew 5:13. We are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its flavor, you are the 14 or 13. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has lost its savor, where shall it be salt? So contact them without being contaminated. You are supposed to go and give them the flavor. So sometimes ask yourself, why do you want to hang out with your boys? Is it just to enjoy the old friendships, or you just want to influence them by the power of God? First of all, don't ever think you have the power to change anybody.
Yeah.
It is the light in you. You are the light of the world, a city that is put on a hill. The light in you. Let your light so shine that men may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. All you do is shine. You can't change anybody. So in your dealings with them, let them see light. Don't be an undercover Christian. You know, you hang with the boys and the girls and everybody is just effing and blinding and talking stank.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll learn a few more spiritual words. You're not supposed to say stank when they're talking smack and all that kind of stuff. And then that's a bit more spiritual, isn't it? And you're sitting there. What are you trying to be like? Undercover agent for Jesus? It's either you're enjoying what they are saying or you're not. You know what I'm saying? So in your contact with people, and that's one thing God blessed me with, I never cut off friends. I always leave an open door. But I can't always hang with everybody. I always leave my doors open. So a person like Josh, is because when I opened my door to Josh, he kind of like also extended his hand of friendship. You know, you can extend your hand of friendship to a lot of people when they just want. He respected my stance. I never heard Josh like swear or cuss around me. I'm sure he did it outside of me before Christ.
Yeah.
But I never heard, because he respected that. Oh, this guy is a man of God. He's not about that. So I believe in all that. When I don't think Josh was born again when I knew him.
No, I don't think I was.
I
don't think I was.
I knew that. But I was in contact with him. We used to walk together.
Yeah.
After work, we used to work at Thought Park. That's my small beginnings. We used to be on the turnstiles. We used to be talking. And every day I went with my friend. And some of them were 17 years old. I was 34 years old then.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking some of them are I'm twice their age. But they didn't even know I was 34. Some of them would say, yo, Kofi, do you want to go to Liquid this weekend?
True story still. True story.
Do they have childcare at Liquid? No, we are going to prison.
Yeah.
What are you guys talking about?
True talk still.
You want to go to church with me? It's like, you go to church? What kind of person are you? I was like, yes, I'm married with 2 children. They were like, Obviously, you don't even look more than 24. I was like, yeah. Don't get it twisted. They say black. But anyway, so I feel you, Isaiah. God puts that desire in your heart. Check your motives. So when you enjoy, the Bible says in Psalm 1, verse 1, blessed is he that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, standeth in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on it does he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. His leaves shall not wither. Whatsoever he does shall prosper.
Yeah.
Blessed is the man that. It starts with a. If we can read that scripture, that would be great. It starts with a progression. Blessed is the man. If somebody has Psalm 1 verse 1, they can read it. She's praying for us. Let's give that for Savannah. She's doing a great job. It's dedication. Let's see the progression here. Blessed is the man that walketh not. You know, I'm just hanging with them. You know, we just walking together. You know, it starts from there, and then it's more than just walking. You just stand with people, just talk. Then you get comfortable. Then you say, you sit and you cross your leg. They just didn't write in the Bible, but I'm sure. No, I'm just joking. Blessed is that walketh not in the counsel. Who gives you counsel? When you want advice about, let's say, relationship, who do you go to?
Yeah.
You go to your old boys just because we grew up. I've known you since we were 3. So, no. If they don't share the same faith, you can't take counsel from them on everything. I'm not saying don't talk to them. Who do you take counsel from? Standeth in the way of sinners. When boys are just going to get wasted, you are there to pray for them. You know, when they are just going to get high as the sky, you are just there to help them in case they kiss heaven. Why are you hanging with them and they are smoking weed? What are you doing? Are you just telling about the Most High? Oh, I know you are trying to get high, but let me introduce you to the Most High. You know you are enjoying what they are doing. You know, it's like you're watching this R-rated movie and you go like, oh man, that's nasty, man. Oh, the Lord forgive. How are you enjoying the same thing? and trying to evangelize them. And sometimes we lose our testimony. Just like, let's say you are a Christian and you are, let's say, fornicating with an unbeliever, and the next day you tell them, oh, you need to give your life to Jesus. It is something that happens. I know people from church. I've been in church for almost 20 years. I know people from church. They claim they are born again, boys and girls, and they are trusting the Lord for their salvation. You are blocking their witness. I'm not saying that it's an unforgivable sin, but I'm just saying that your witness is weak. So you don't become a weak witness just because you want to hang with them. And like I said, I won't cut. I have family members who didn't want to know the Lord. I love them. I still hang with them, and they used to mock my faith. But I know where I get counsel from. I know when they start talking smack, it's time. Hasta la vista. Au revoir. Just bye-bye. I mean, I can't be sitting here now that you're talking stank. So, or seated in the seat of the scornful, people are mocking the name of God. So, Isaiah, I hope I've helped you that God has called us to to be light in the midst of the darkness. And Jesus said, behold, I send you as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be shrewd as a serpent, be wise as a serpent, and be what? Meek or harmless as a dove. Wisdom to navigate in this crooked and perverse generation. I hope I was able to answer the question. Any more questions?
If I may add,
Yes,
what
sir.
you say is the fact that you need to be careful. The reason being that, you see, darkness influences, it pulls more than light. Light is attractive to those who love it. But darkness has a way of creeping, especially if you're having a relationship with those who are not believers. Even among people in the church, you need to be even extra careful. Because not everyone, even in the church, you may talk it, you may even pray it. Like a friend of mine traveled and recently, and they had a ministers' conference, and they did all the big prayers. But stepping out of the prayer room, he started cursing, getting angry, flaring up, and in a way which is not right. But I want us to focus on connect that to our relationship, looking for in our relationship with each other, and look for a partner. For instance, you see, I have a garden, and that garden I have lettuce, cabbage I planted. But once in a while, when I started with the cabbage, it took a lot of work for me to do it. And I planted the cabbage. When it grew, about 3 months, it was mature. Then suddenly, I found that some animals, they were eating the cabbage. In the daylight, in the morning, there's nothing. But at night, 1 o'clock in the night, I took a torch and I came out. And I started, they are slugs, slugs and snails. They were feasting on the cabbage. And they go right in and eat it right in. You can't use it again. You can't eat it. It's the same with relationship. Relationship takes a lot of work. Good relationship just doesn't happen.
Oh, yeah, the spirit man.
It just doesn't happen. It's not a product of wishful thinking. And sometimes we think being a believer, wishful thinking, we should sort it out. It never does. It's a lot of work. Just like you are studying, some of you have not slept. No, you're trying to catch up, isn't it? It's a sacrifice. No, on a more serious note, it's a sacrifice because you know the goal. I want to excel. It's the same with your relationship. There are sacrifices you must make in order for it to flourish. It just doesn't happen. Number one, you need to be patient with your dad. In any relationship, you need to be patient and you need to be tolerant. No one is perfect. Take your eyes off people's faults. Don't always talk about people's faults. If you want it to succeed, don't dwell on people's faults. We all have faults. We all do. There are always good sides. Try and focus on the good side. Sometimes when we criticize, for example, oh, this government, they're terrible. Nothing good can come out of it. But what of the nice things they've done?
Yes.
It's not always bad.
It's not.
But therefore, even our relationship with God, there are moments, even when Jesus said, my Father, why hast thou forsaken me? There are moments in a relationship. It's not all about sweetie, pinky, smiling all the time, romance. No! It's not. You need to understand that because some people, the concept of a good relationship is, oh, it's so nice. That's a relationship.
Yeah.
You understand? That's just a kind of a fairy tale concept of relationship.
That's it.
But that's not the real thing. It's a mixture of good times and bad times. Bad times will come. But you you're there to support each other. That's what it is about. There are times when you come back from work, you're miserable, but your partner senses it. Oh, that was the problem, and try and make you better. That sometimes you make mistakes, but being able to acknowledge it and move ahead, even with God. God said, if thou will confess your sin, and he is faithful and just to forgive it. The only condition, just talk about it, say it to him. The same with our relationship with one another.
Wow. That is, I mean, he just literally punctured into my notes and says stuff that I've written down. Like things like good relationships don't just happen. And focusing on the good. One thing, I've been married for just 7 going on 8 years compared to him, like I'm a rookie. But you know what? It's not because he's been married for longer or me. It's because he used the word of God.
Amen.
And one thing he said, focus on the good. You know, people accuse me of being unrealistic about marriage. You know, when people say, oh, you know, yo, real talk, let's talk, real talk. They mostly mean talk about the bad things. So people pull me up, so real talk, how's marriage like? I was like, it's fabulous. I mean, I love being married. It's excellent. I want to be a good testimony of what marriage is. And people say, oh, you're not being real. People say they are fights in marriage, there are disagreements. It's like, did I tell you I've never disagreed with my wife before? I'm just not going to dwell on the times we disagree, because we don't disagree every time. What people do is that they'll focus on the times they disagree. And then that will be the definition of marriage. And so, when I say that marriage is beautiful, even with 3 little children, 5, 3, and 6 months, that's intense.
Yeah.
That's high maintenance. And we still are enjoying our marriage. People say, oh, you're being realistic because... I'm like, no, I'm not going to call my children little demons. Some people call their children, you little monster. I'll just say that they are not born again. They need to be born again. Because you can see from your children, children are not born again. They are not Christian children, you know that.
Yeah.
They need to be born again. Because whenever I see, you walk into the room and somebody has poured something or something like that. And then you ask them, who did it? It's this one.
Yeah.
It's like, how can 2 people, everybody's pointing to the each. Do you know where that comes from? The Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Adam, where are you? It's the woman.
Yeah.
Woman, where are you? It's the snake. And so they have the Adamic nature. That's why David said, I was born in iniquity and I conceived in iniquity. So that's why I pray for my children to be born again. They're not little demons. So what I'm saying is that I enjoy at this stage where it's hardcore. When we have to make a journey. We have to leave at 9. We have to start by 7. Let's get into the car. You have to stay there for 2 hours. But am I going to moan and say that, oh, this sucks? No. It is teaching me character. It is building me. So what you focus on in relationship, people say stuff like, oh, all Christians are hypocrites, and Christians are, just spare the self-righteous rhetoric. If Christians are hypocrites, you are the chief hypocrite then. But you as a Christian, and church people are going to hurt you. Have you never heard somebody before? You think you're all that, and a slice of bread. That's how they say, you're all that and a slice of what? A slice of bread or in a bag of chips or something like that. In a bag of chips. You're not all that in a bag of chips. You're not the best thing that has happened since sliced bread. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
You think you're the best thing that has happened since sliced bread. And you're all that in a bag of chips. No. You may be all that in a jollof rice. So what I'm saying is that let's not focus on things like, people hurt people in church. Like, you be in this fellowship and people are going to step on your toes. That's because they are close enough. Don't deny it, but say, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass. Because you know, even in your good intentions, here trying to share the word of God, the word of God with you. How do I know I've not even offended somebody, even in my talk? Because you know you never get it right. But giving people grace.
Yeah.
And you know what? When somebody offends me, I'm going to let it go, because there will be a day I also need them to forgive me.
It's true.
And that's how we have to roll as people of God. So I don't want to be too spiritual. Those guys who are too spiritual and take more time than they're supposed to take. So I want to end here, and I want to thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. Like I said, I'm open to coming here anytime you want us to. Let's plan something more intimate, like on a Saturday where we're just chilling somewhere in a very nice, just sharing the word and fellowship, because I love stuff like that. Feasting on the word, just having time for question and answer. And Uncle is there, he shares his world of wisdom with us. You guys are there, young people are not silly like people think they are. I don't believe that. And people say, oh, I have just 2 minutes or 30 seconds. People say stuff, that's what young people do. Young people just go out and get drunk. Young people just go and get... No, they don't do that. God is raising a new breed of young people who will be different. A new breed. And let me pray for you. Father, we thank you for this wonderful fellowship. Thank you for the privilege to share. I pray that out of this fellowship you raise up young men and women who love you, who have a strong relationship with you, and will affect their world, and world changes. There will be a light to their world. There will be salt to this earth. To your glory and to your praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I think that was it for today's session. Thank you everyone for coming. It's been really great. Feel free to hang around, talk. Some people are going to ARC 360